Imagine reaching the absolute pinnacle of your profession.
Yeah.
Like you win the biggest award in the world.
Right. You've got the actual trophy in your hand.
Exactly. But instead of universal applause, a massive chunk of the public is just furious. And they're outraged simply because you're, well, too normal. You don't have an Instagram account.
It's totally wild. I mean, you achieve immortality in your field. You do your job better than anyone else on the planet.
Yeah.
And the loudest reaction is that you don't look or act enough like a celebrity to actually deserve it.
Well, welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're looking at the ultimate paradox of modern sports. Spanish midfielder Rodri.
A fascinating guy.
We've got a stack of tactical analyses, biographical notes, and a really good YouTube breakdown to go through. And our mission today is to unpack how a player who is literally taught to do nothing.
Right, moving coffee cups around.
Exactly. How he became this perfect tactical computer, redefined a completely thankless position, and built a trophy cabinet that matches legends like Messi and Zidane.
But, before we can even begin to understand how he mastered the game, we really have to understand the specific curse of his position.
The holding midfielder.
Exactly. And why his extreme, almost aggressive off-pitch normality made him such an anomaly in modern sports.
Okay, let's unpack this curse of the holding midfielder. Because when I was reading through the tactical notes, it instantly reminded me of being the bass player in a rock band.
Oh, that's a great analogy.
Right. Because you're the one dictating the entire rhythm. You provide the foundation that makes the song actually work. But the crowd, they're entirely hypnotized by the lead singer.
That holds up perfectly when you look at how football evaluates talent. Pep Guardiola, who managed him at Manchester City, summed this up. He said a holding midfielder can never, ever be in the highlights.
Because their job is basically invisible?
Yeah, their primary job is to do the thinking for the whole team. They're like the shadow architects of the match.
And the bias in these award ceremonies is incredibly real. I mean, look at Sergio Busquets.
Oh, absolutely.
Anyone who knows football considers him one of the greatest holding midfielders ever. The engine of that legendary Barcelona team. But he never even made the top 20 for the Ballon d'Or.
Which is insane. But historically, these prizes are just reserved for the goal scorers, the attacking freaks of nature.
Which is what makes Rodri's eventual win so fascinating. It doesn't fit that superstar mold at all.
Not even a little bit. His level of normality is almost radical for a multimillionaire elite athlete. Like, go back to when he was playing for Villarreal in Spain.
Right.
She wasn't living in a gated mansion or a luxury penthouse. He was living in a standard university college dorm.
Wait, really? A guy playing top-tier professional football is just hanging out in the dorm room.
Sharing space with regular students. He actually rode a bicycle to training every day so he could save up enough money to buy a used Opel Corsa.
That is just, I can't even picture that.
There's this incredible story where his own college roommates didn't even know he was a pro football player. They only found out when they were hanging out watching a match against Barcelona on TV, and suddenly they see their roommate getting subbed onto the pitch.
No way. That is absurd.
But what really stands out is that this low-key lifestyle was entirely driven by, like, a relentless academic discipline.
Right, he was actively pursuing a university degree in business management while playing professionally.
Yeah, he maintained this impenetrable firewall between his football life and his personal life. I read there was one day where he got so deeply absorbed in studying for a university exam that he missed 20 phone calls from the club.
Oh, wow.
He nearly forgot he had a match scheduled for that exact same day.
Think about the contrast there. You have young teammates living the stereotypical footballer lifestyle, right? Buying supercars, dating Instagram models.
Cultivating a brand.
Exactly. And Rodri is taking the team bus home from an away game, opening his laptop, and FaceTiming his long-distance girlfriend so they can study together, while she finishes her medical degree. It's so wholesome. But Dani Carvajal, his teammate on the Spanish national team, actually pointed this out as a supposed flaw. Carvajal said Rodri lacked the marketing required to win major individual prizes.
Because he had no social media presence, no flashy PR campaigns.
Right. So is Rodri's normality actually a marketing failure, or was this low-key academic mindset a deliberate psychological shield that allowed him to process the game differently?
What's fascinating here is that having that academic, analytical brain wasn't a PR failure at all. It was his greatest tactical shield.
How so?
Because he completely rejected the noise of being a superstar, he had the mental bandwidth to become a sponge for strategy.
Right.
The coach of the Spanish national team eventually called him the perfect computer.
So his university background actually sharpened his pitch intelligence.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But having this perfect computer brain doesn't mean much if you don't have the right software.
Which is where his arrival at Manchester City completely changes the trajectory of his career.
Oh, absolutely.
He spends time at Atletico Madrid under Diego Simeone first, where he learns to be the bad guy and making the opposition miserable. Then, Manchester City pays a record 70 million euros for him.
And he instantly becomes Pep Guardiola's absolute obsession. Guardiola had been searching for years for someone who could replicate what Busquets did.
Right.
When Rodri arrived, Guardiola turned him into his ultimate pet project. And we see one of the most unconventional, cerebral approaches to tactical evolution ever.
The coffee cup sessions.
Wow.
I could not get over this detail when I was reading the sources.
It's so good.
After regular team training out on the pitch, Rodri would stay behind every single day. Just him and Guardiola. A 30-minute private one-on-one session. But they aren't out on the grass.
Not at all. They were sitting at a table indoors. Guardiola would gather up espresso cups and use them as stand-ins for players.
Literally playing tactical chess with coffee cups.
Yeah, moving them around to visually map out the geometry of the pitch. He'd slide a cup across the table and say, if the opponent presses here and our winger drops there, then bang, you have to occupy this specific inch of space.
And Rodri said he always found it somewhat easy to read the flow of a game. But these sessions were the final piece of the puzzle. They rebuilt his understanding of holding space.
Because the hardest lesson he had to learn wasn't about what action to take. It was actually about what not to do.
Right, curbing his natural urge to jump forward.
Exactly. Guardiola was stripping his game down to the bare bones. Naturally, when you see an opponent with the ball, your instinct is to aggressively press high and win it back.
But Guardiola warned him that doing that broke the entire structure. If he rushed forward and got bypassed, the whole team was left naked.
So Guardiola gives him this relentless mantra. He tells him, you move too much. Don't move, just be there.
Which sounds completely counterintuitive. It's like a martial arts master teaching a student that the most devastating advanced move is just standing perfectly still.
But tactically, that positional discipline is the essence of the invisible game. If you sprint out of your position, you leave a massive hole behind you. Elite teams are praying for you to do that.
So they can pass into that exact hole.
Right. By standing still, Rodri acts like a giant boulder in the middle of a stream. The opponent's attack is forced to flow out wide. He suffocates them without ever making a flashy tackle.
But wait, if a club pays a record 70 million euros for you, human nature screams that you need to go out there and actively do things to prove your worth. How difficult is it for an elite athlete to unlearn the instinct to chase the ball?
If we connect this to the bigger picture, it requires an unbelievable suppression of ego. Guardiola wasn't just teaching tactics, he was actively reprogramming his natural human instincts.
To make him the architect of this invisible game.
Yes, he had to accept that exerting frantic energy was actually detrimental to his team. By mastering those coffee cups, he learned his value was in the passing lanes he permanently blocked.
But mastering the coffee cups didn't lead to instant glory. In fact, this psychological warfare led to the darkest moment of Rodri's career.
Yeah, his second season at City, he played more matches than anyone else. He was the workhorse. But for the biggest match in the club's history, the Champions League final,
Guardiola benched him.
Benched him completely. And City ended up choking the match. They lost to Chelsea.
I read he was so broken by that, he couldn't even speak to his family after the game.
Yeah.
But he vowed he never wanted to feel that way again.
That heartbreak was the ultimate catalyst. A lot of players would complain to the media. Rodri just went back to the drawing board. And by his third year, he transformed into a statistical anomaly.
Here's where it gets really interesting. The numbers he puts up are absurd. A 92% pass completion rate.
Insane consistency.
But let me push back on this. A 92% pass completion rate sounds great, but anyone can stat pad by passing safely sideways for 90 minutes. What makes his data so groundbreaking?
That is exactly why data analysts developed the OptiPass impact score. It proves quality over volume. Instead of getting points for safely passing 3 feet to a teammate,
Right.
It measures how many opposing defenders your pass completely bypassed. Dangerous, field-splitting passes.
Oh, so it proves he's cutting teams open, not just playing it safe.
Precisely. And Rodri achieved a pass impact score of 135. No other player in the Premier League even reached 100.
Wow.
He was making high-risk passes with the 92% accuracy of someone playing it safe, never turning the ball over.
And his defensive stats mirror that. 17 ball recoveries per 1,000 touches. The next best was Calvin Phillips at 12.8.
Not to mention winning 72% of his aerial duels. Those are numbers usually reserved for giant center backs.
He had perfected every single dimension of his role, which leads to this world record 74-game unbeaten streak.
Unbelievable.
For over a year, when Rodri played, his team simply did not lose. City was 46% more likely to win with him in the lineup.
He went from being benched in a final to literally irreplaceable. He had mastered the curse of the holding midfielder, but here is the grand irony.
Yeah.
To finally overcome that historical bias and win the Ballon, perfecting his defensive role wasn't enough. He had to transcend it entirely.
Right. He had to do the unthinkable and become a lethal offensive threat.
Yeah.
This guy, who was taught to just be there, suddenly decides to add 22 goal contributions in a season.
And if you take away penalty kicks, he was outperforming highly creative superstars like Odegaard and Bruno Fernandes from the deepest midfield position.
And these weren't just garbage time goals, the clutch moments. I mean, he scored the only goal in the Champions League final to win City the treble.
The biggest goal in the club's history.
And then the title-clinching equalizer on the final day against Aston Villa. When the stakes were highest, the invisible man became the most visible player on the pitch.
Which brings us to the immense controversy surrounding his Ballon d'Or victory. First Premier League player to win since Ronaldo, first Spaniard in 64 years.
But the scene of him accepting it, it's just bizarre. He has to hobble up to the podium on crutches due to a ruptured ACL and meniscus, and the crowd is actively chanting Vinicius Jr.'s name.
It exposed a deep philosophical divide. One side felt a flashy superstar like Vinicius Jr. was the rightful winner. They viewed Rodri's win as almost an affront because he lacked that viral highlight reel.
Right.
But the voting journalists looked at that 74-game unbeaten streak, his undeniable consistency and those clutch title-winning goals. They decided his overall influence was mathematically impossible to ignore.
So what does this all mean? Did Rodri actually change how voters view the holding midfielder? Or did he simply hack the system by playing like a striker when his team needed goals?
This raises an important question, right? The analysis suggests it was a fusion of both. His statistical dominance forced voters to respect the holding role.
Yeah.
But it was that undeniable clutch factor, scoring those title-deciding goals, that ultimately forced them to look past their inherent biases. He had to be absolutely perfect at his own job and then do the attacker's jobs just to get noticed.
And just when people thought his story might stall out because of that devastating 15-month injury saga, Guardiola makes this incredibly bold prophecy.
Oh, this is legendary.
Pep tells the media, at the upcoming World Cup, we'll see the best Rodri we've ever seen.
And that prophecy was completely fulfilled. After 15 agonizing months of setbacks, he arrives at the World Cup and completely bends the tournament to his will.
He broke his own passing record. He tactically suffocated France. And against Argentina, he commanded the space so effectively, they didn't manage a single shot on target.
He wins the World Cup, takes player of the tournament, adding to his Euro and Nations League honors.
That string of victories secures his entry into a 6-player club with matching trophy cabinets. Names like Messi, Zidane, Ronaldinho.
It is a staggering narrative arc. From a dorm room student riding a bicycle to playing tactical chess with coffee cups to becoming the irreplaceable perfect computer, he became a massive role model for aspiring young tactical players.
It really makes you reflect on your own life, you know?
Yeah.
What are the coffee cups in your profession? Where are you expending frantic energy and moving too much when the most powerful thing you could do is simply be there and hold your space?
It's a profound lesson in the value of the invisible game. Proof that substance can outshine noise.
And it leaves us with one final, lingering thought to ponder. If it took the greatest holding midfielder of a generation, completely abandoning his positional rules to score title-winning goals just to get noticed for the Ballon d'Or,
Yeah.
does the sports world actually understand the invisible game, or are we still just hypnotized by whoever puts the ball in the net?
A question that will definitely keep the debate raging.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. We'll catch you next time.